This video will be called Neutron First Patching or something like that. I know I've done a few videos on the Model D. I'm also lucky enough to own a Neutron. It's great. It's great. I love it. It's a bit more complicated, maybe, possibly, than the D. So I just thought I'd do a quick video of like setting up your first patch and just indicate, you know, those little sort of trip hazards that you might encounter if you're sort of playing with the Neutron. I mean, the Neutron's been out for a while, so there's probably there's a bunch of videos on YouTube about the Neutron. This is mine. If you're new here, you are very, very welcome. Hello, I'm Mark. We play with synths and guitars and occasionally bass here. All right, let's go. Evening, folks. Hope everyone is well. Let's take these off. I hope everyone is well. And in the UK at the moment, it's bank holiday, Sunday. So I've got all day tomorrow. What I wanted to do this evening is recording some Neutron, pointing over there, for a little project I'm working. I think I haven't posted anything for a couple of weeks, and the reason being I'm trying to write more and mess around with these less. More on that story as it evolves. Yeah, so tonight's job is to record some Neutron, so I thought it was an opportunity to sort of do a Neutron first patch, just to show you how I'm going to set up the Neutron to do some recording. The Neutron, it's maybe a little bit trickier than the Model D. I can't comment about the Cat or the Wasp or the Pro 1. Can't comment on those, I don't own them. I think the DeepMind is probably fairly straightforward, right? Switch it on and dial up a preset and off you go. The Neutron is a bit trickier. I think it either came before or similar time to the DeepMind, so it was, you know, like Behringer's, you know, first foray into sort of synthesizers, or at least and definitely in terms of those kind of desktop kind of format mono synths. Possibly, controversially, possibly their best. Don't want to start a flame war. How dare you say it's the best? I really like it. You can pick up a second-hand Neutron for around £200, euros, dollars, depending on where you are in the world. For what you get, that's insane value, I would suggest, especially if you consider all the patching options. We will see it in the next part of the video, don't worry. And if you see that, I think that's probably a better, if you want to get into modular, the Neutron I would suggest is a good way to go versus going literally into modular. It's pretty deep, but also maybe a little bit tricky to get your first patch out of. So that's what we're going to do tonight. All right, let's get into it. Before we get started, I need a cup of tea. Essential materials for this video. So I want to start briefly. I mean, I don't want to make this an epically long video, but we've got two oscillators over here. These are the tuning, and we can set the type, the shape of the wave with these two buttons here, width here, and there's a few other buttons, particularly these for setting the range of, like, the octave range, high, low, right? And then the mix between the two, fairly straightforward. But I don't want to focus too much on the oscillators because, you know, we're trying to get a sound out of it. So it's set up as a triangle and a sine. Haven't tuned them. Now, and I have got the MIDI keyboard, or the Z1, set up to transmit MIDI. I know whether you can hear it. Can you hear that clicking? That's a Neutron, but obviously that's no good. So let's just focus on this kind of middle section here. Because say you've just bought a Neutron and you just got it out of the box, everything might be turned down. Okay, in fact, yeah, let's turn these down as well. Now obviously I've got my main volume is set to about sort of 12 o'clock there, so you'd think, well, in theory I should be able to hear something. Well, Okay, there's a few things that might trip you up. The first thing that might trip you up is if your envelope is everything is off, you're not letting anything through. So the first thing to do is your main envelope. Just set all that to 12 o'clock, and it's an ADSR envelope. So if you know anything about synthesizers, you'll understand what that is. Attack, decay, sustain, release. So let's set those to 12 o'clock to start with. That's a good start. Still not hearing anything. Still not hearing anything, even though we got the volume up. Well, the other thing that is tripping you up is the overdrive sort of panel here. This is, and if this is all set to essentially off, you're not going to hear anything. So let's set that to 12 o'clock as well. Oh, hello. And then we're starting to hear something. Great. So now we're starting to get a sound. The other thing I'd recommend is if your envelope 2, which, if I understand it, is controlling the filter, that might be all sort of set off as well. So let's start with setting that at 12 o'clock as well. And then we're starting to approach something that is sort of, oh, we can start recording with that. Yeah, I mean, that's and essentially, you know, that you know if you start with those sort of settings, you will hear something. We don't need to worry about this part. Obviously, main volume. So if that's all the way down, yeah, we don't hear anything. So I'm going to set that to 12 o'clock. Yeah. The other thing that might trip you up is the LFO, because I think it basically, you know, well, my experience is the oscillator is kind of always going through the LFO. So if the LFO is set to do something peculiar, that could be another reason why you're not hearing anything. The delay up here, that can be set off, and you can still hear, you know, you'll still hear it. But if you set you can set the delay for 12 o'clock. And there we go. So yeah, so if in doubt, start setting things to 12 o'clock, not all the way off. And you'll start hearing something, and then obviously once you can hear something, you can start shaping things as you'd like. Another thing that might fox you, just thinking about it, is the filter. So the filter, you've got a high pass filter, band pass filter, and low pass filter. So if you set it into a low pass filter and you have the frequency all the way down, you won't hear anything. Just something coming through. So obviously I need to adjust the frequency to be able to hear something. Likewise, you could be in high pass mode, and this could be all the way sort of on, and you ain't going to hear anything. But again, if in doubt, just dial that 12 o'clock position, that dead center position, and you'll hear some. And even in band pass mode, you'll hear something. Bit quiet, but so yeah, that's and again, you know, if the resonance is that, you know, it'll be could be a bit pokey, but at least, you know, you will hear something. So I have my Reaper project set up, and having been working with the Neutron for the past couple of months, I really like using it as a pad in a track. The oscillators sound really organic, and there's a lot of kind of just natural movement in those oscillators. The downside of that is it means if you've got, like, you know, 3 notes playing a chord, you've got to have those on their own channel and record the audio separately, which is, yeah, it's a faff, like, you know, but there we go. So I'm just sending up this, or the first bit of MIDI. you can hear how I've got some noise going on. Let's kill the noise. Because this is a pad, I want a slow attack, which is, yeah, set to 12 o'clock. I'll keep my decay and my sustain also at 12 o'clock and give it a bit more release so the notes hold on longer. I'm going to just turn the delay off, so I'll record it dry and add effects in post, which gives me a bit more flexibility, especially if I want to do a tempo synced delay. Let's leave the overdrive at all 12 o'clock for now. Let's set, because I'm doing this as a sort of pad, I'm just pretty much looking for, you know, I mean, I could just, you know, have entirely that sine wave. I haven't tuned this, so I'll get a sound set up and then I'll tune it, then I'll record it. And before I record the next bit, I'll check the tuning again. Okay, I'm not saying like the Neutron wanders in and out of tune, but you know, just, yeah, these are kind of very organic instruments, so do just keep, if you're playing the guitar or the bass, you know, you'd occasionally check the tuning, right? Think of it the same kind of deal, or a clarinet or a flute. Yeah, is my suggestion. Do what you like. So I like the sine wave on my first oscillator. Let's try a bit on the other oscillator. Quacking. So you can, it's got a lot of character, as you'll hear. I mean, that's really quacky. That's the sound I like, just sine and triangle. I like that. I'm going to take the triangle wave down an octave. Now, the next thing I'll do is I'll set up the LFO. The LFO doesn't need to do anything clever. I just need to provide a little bit of movement. I mean, there's already a bit of movement in there. And I could set the modulation depth like really high. But, you know, we're getting into Doctor Who territory there. We don't quite want to be there. I mean, I could also set the rate really high as well. Not quite what I'm looking for this, but, you know, definitely into Doctor Who territory here. What I'm finding with this is, you know, subtle changes can really sculpt the sound a lot. Yeah, so it's not like none of this. It's, you know, it's sort of just fine tune this. Yeah, great fun. Anyway, hopefully, you know, if you're thinking of getting a Neutron, you looked at it. They're really nice sounding. I'll maybe do another video with some other examples of it, with some delay, either from a rack effect or a pedal or a digital effect. Sounds good. So I'm going to do some recording, drink my tea, and let's call it a day for this video. Cheers. Cheers.